Hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are. You know where you are and what time it is, let's hope. Oh, man, what is time? It's all so relevant, right? Or non-relevant. Does it even exist? Not really. Anyway, let's not get that far down the road. I know, I say this every video, I'm going to try and make this fairly short. The most exciting news I've heard, there's been some great, the whole US aid thing and all the rest of that, it's been fantastic. Elon's swinging a big axe, and if you don't appreciate what they're trying to do, whether you like them personally or not, I don't know what you think you spend your tax money on if you don't want to find out whether or not it's being fraudulently spent or abused. It's coming out of your wallet. Why wouldn't you want to know where it's going and who's it going to? And I don't know how many people got mansions because of, what came out of your paycheck that it took you until May to earn each year. Anyway, this is my favorite news. This might be my favorite subject that I've talked about on this channel ever. Maybe not that, but it's pretty big. I have, as you all know, we ended up with great news that the Fed is going to be edited. Probably. Let's go with audit. It's going to be audited. Maybe edited eventually. Yeah, a little slip there. Hey, probably. Well, those of you who have read The Jekyll Island, those of you who have read many, many years of knowledge of who the Fed is, what the families are, how it was created, what 1913 really was, what it all means, how it was created, the fact that they're not a federal agency, and no, they don't have reserves. They don't have any of that. They might have had reserves back then because, the J.P. Morgans and, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and those people who formed this originally actually had a lot of money back then. But in comparisons to the amount of money that they currently have today, that's impossible. They didn't have trillions. They never had trillions in reserve. So I'm guessing that the audit's probably not going to go real well. Now, there's two sides to this audit story. Is the audit worse than we thought it was or better than we thought it was? Depends on how you want to look at it. If it is worse, meaning we owe, 50 trillion instead of whatever it is now, 36, it's 50. And then you go, okay, well, that's really bad, really. But maybe not, because we might actually look at who profited, who kind of already know, many of us know, the players involved here. You might already know who the families are, and you might know that they're hundreds of billionaires, if you will. It's funny how we call Elon Musk the wealthiest man in the world. He's not even in the top 100, but that's another story. They will, in one manner or another, come to a number, and then they will say, where did all the numbers go? And how did they get there? What were the avenues of why it went there? And how did this change the course of the world or wars and all the above? If they can get to the bottom of all of that, holy smokes, we could really, really be in a great change for all of humanity. This is why this subject, I don't know why nobody's talking about this. It doesn't make any sense to me. And by the way, we picked the perfect man for this audit. None other than a financial, should I say, mentor of mine. I've never met him personally. I love his stuff. Mr. Ron Paul. Imagine Ron Paul and Elon Musk auditing the Federal Reserve. Now, this is really, really big, folks. This is, I don't know why those families are going to allow this to happen. It doesn't sound like their MO to me. It does sound to some degree to be, oh, we'll give you the books that we want you to see. It could be something along those lines, okay? It's got to be something along those lines. Because that system has been crazy for a very long time. I want to get back to, that's all point one. I'm going to get to point two. Don't worry. Hang on for that. But I want to get back to what that really means in the monetary system of the world. In the monetary system of the world, there are families in China, there are families in Russia, and there are families, we call them oligarchies or whatever you want to call them. All of these people have been at war since my third video. What was almost 4 years ago, I explained these families at the top. It's not just two families, it's multiples of families, but they kind of have taken this side or that side, and I like to roughly put them in a category of globalists or nationalists, and some are centralists and they have different agenda, if you will. They have a different way of seeing the prosperity of all mankind. Well, clearly the globalists have been winning over the last 20, 30 years, and they're not any longer. They're losing power, and I like to believe, and I have some evidence of this, that the nationalists, who don't believe really in imperialism and that form of commerce, they really believe in nationalism and community, and like your county, your state, and your government really is irrelevant. That's how they see it. Your local school, your taxes should go to your local school. Your taxes shouldn't go to the federal government. That's never made sense to me. It doesn't make sense to Trump. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people who are what I like to call the benevolent ones. Some people call them the white hats, whatever. It's not just a white and a black hat running around DC. But I will say that the people that care about people, all people, and if you think that when somebody's kicking somebody out of their country that they don't care about those people, I don't think you understand what caring for humanity or mankind or your government or your people is. You have to some degree, understand where we're at right now. And you have to set parameters, because otherwise you have no measuring stick. This has been the problem with the Federal Reserve all along. We don't have a measuring stick. Why? Because you go to, cut a 2x4 or a piece of wood to build something, and the wood gets longer each time. In other words, there's more digits constantly. Well, now I'm going to get into why point number 2 of this video that's really, really, I know you guys know everything I already said. Point number 2 about what's coming is the measuring stick is going to be, in this country, 12 inches long. I'm going to call it 1 foot. That measuring stick is going to have to equate to, this is how much gold you have. This is how many dollars you have. This is how much oil you have. This is how much crypto you have. You cannot any longer, with blockchain and all the rest of it, lie about what you have. Okay? Basel III and all the rest of this is all to be played for, but I'm so glad they're auditing all of this prior to that. Okay? When you look at what crypto brings to the table with the blockchain, okay? Even the new director, I can't remember her name, of the SEC, or temporary director of the SEC, basically came out with her speech last week and said, well, what we really like is the accountability of this and the honest transactional ability globally. This tells me that there is a possibility, because of the things that you and I have been talking about for a long time on this show and many other great channels, is we have the opportunity to create accountability, scarcity in the value of your hard labor and your tax money. Not using this scale in which they've had their finger on the scale in their favor the entire time. All you got to do is look, and I say this a lot, but it bears repeat. All you have to do is look at the fact that the United States was the most prosperous nation in the history of mankind. Yet it's the most indebted in the history of mankind. How does that, if you balance that out, that means that all the prosperity that was generated was turned into debt. Even if they didn't make a profit straight across, you should be level. You should be at least even. But no, we're nearly $40 trillion in debt. Where did it go? Why is that debt there? Is it poor management? Clearly it's poor management. It's more than just the interest rate. It's poor management of the principal that created that massive amount of interest rate going to the Federal Reserve. The other opportunity that Bitcoin and XRP, my two favorites, and other coins offer us is not just a ledger, not just open source, in the XRP's case, ODL, right? It allows that on-demand liquidity whenever we need something, only with an honest ledger, 12-inch rule stick, right? So we don't need the Fed. We don't need the oligarchy to say, oh, okay, banks, you can print this. Here's the treasuries. You owe us the interest on this money that we don't own. Being we, oligarchy. They don't even own the money. They're printing out of nowhere. And then they're charging a fee for it. You and I already have the money. It's called XRP. It's called Bitcoin. Whatever you want, whatever coin. I don't care. We can use 5 of them. We can use a whole slew of them. We can use Tron coin for that matter. I don't even care. Not a big Tron fan, but hey, whichever, right? At least there's accountability to those. We can back it sincerely by a non-sliding growing rule stick. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean that they're going to audit the Fed? That means that if they're allowed to truly see the books, and they are going to find the math that I suspect, I can't say that I know is there, but it's pretty obvious that it's not good accounting, that they don't know, we don't owe them anything. They've been so fraudulent in their ability and their rights to steal from the taxpayers and where the money actually went to. Charging interest and a commission on money that did not exist is all you need to know about. That's what Trump, that's what the Ron Paul has always, end the Fed. End the Fed. They're not just going to audit it. They're going to come up with the numbers, they're going to come up with the proof, and they're going to come up with a sales pitch, if you will, to deliver to the world of the people. And they already have a plan. You don't go in and destroy something like all the central banking network, tell the whole world that you're not going to use CBDCs. You're not going to use them. But yet I'm going to audit the Fed. Audit means I'm coming after them. And then no, they're going to find fraud. So they're not going to want to use the Fed anymore. So what does that tell you? Tells me, big picture, now third category, if you will, I'm going to say that they already have all this planned out. I think they're already going to use one as collateral, being probably Bitcoin. I think they're going to use many coins as collateral, but I think that they're going to use transactionally ISO, obviously. I don't like that it's connected to Fed now. Personally, on a level, for me, I don't like the way it's structured. I don't get it. I don't like it. Every time I read something about it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool for XRP and that's really good for Ripple, but I don't like the way it's structured. I need a lot more clarity and I need a lot more decentralization, and I don't want one company running it. I just don't want that. I don't want it. If I can't have a team of crypto people, if I don't have an honest group of multi-millionaires, I don't want any poor folks in this committee. And I consider myself a poor folk. I don't want people who want money, no matter what the cost of their life, in it. That's how we ended up with this corruption to begin with. We got so many of these politicians who make 200 grand a year and they live in $50 million mansions. No. You want, this sounds backwards to a lot of people, but you want the billionaires to reset the system. Not in the way that the JP Morgans did it, obviously. With an honest ledger. Like I like to say, like playing poker with all the cards on the table upside. So, well, how are they going to steal? You make it virtually impossible by open source decentralization, and then you create the treasury. Trust me, I could go on for days of what I think is going to happen with the treasury. The U.S. is headed for a treasury. It's headed for a, this is my opinion, I'm not alone in this opinion, many people have been talking about it for years, but I want you all to understand, we're going to have something backing the US dollar at the treasury, okay? That something is going to be more than just the good faith of, hey, we're good for those notes. It's going to be something more than that going forward. I don't know. I'm not in that room. I wish. But what that means to you and I is, it's probably crypto of some degree, in gold and oil. Probably something along those lines, some Basel III, some sort of accord. But what's going to happen in the U.S., this man's opinion, something in the U.S., in other words, dollars in the U.S. will be different dollars or of different value than euro dollars. And what I mean by euro dollars are dollars outside of the United States loaned from one nation to another nation. That's called, loose term, a euro dollar. That is not the European dollar that is a currency in Europe. Euro dollar, for those of you, many of you already know this, but the euro dollar basically is any amount of money loaned to another nation or done in business in a dollar denomination, okay, that didn't come from the US dollar. Those are called euro dollars. We're going to still use them all over the world. We're going to use them for global trade. They're going to be used all over, and I don't think the dollar and the euro dollar is going away. I don't. I could be completely wrong. I'm wrong a lot on this show. In fact, I'm probably 40% correct. You know, maybe on a good day. So anyway, what does that mean to you and I? That means that this is how and this is why they're going to do what I just explained. This keeps all of the US dollar digit denominated outside of our country that we have inflated over the years, okay? And trust me, everybody thinks, oh, it's great to be the dollar reserve, world's reserve currency of the world. No, it's not. The only way you can do it, China doesn't want to be. No, they don't. Although right now they're in such deflationary times, they could really use a little inflation. But what it does is inflates your country. It sells your country out. It gives your country away to the world. You inflate your own homeland to the point where people have hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars to come back to the homeland of origin of the world's reserve currency nation, and they can buy things. They can buy your whole country out from under you. It's a very vulnerable position that most nations don't really want to be in. Sure, are there benefits? Yeah, you get to print money to buy oil. Yeah, you get to do there's a lot of benefits. My point here is the new U.S. Treasury dollar is coming. It's going to be digitized. It's not going to be a CBDC because that would be a central bank digital currency. That would be what the Fed currently is throwing down our throats now. Really believe that it might even involve Mexico and Canada. I don't know. I don't know that. I've heard that rumor for 10 years of my life. Possibility. What I am saying is the dollars inside the U.S. and that transact within the U.S. is going to be a different denomination or dollar value or backed with something different. than the dollars floating around the world for global trade. Again, this man's opinion is, for the punchline, what I believe it to be. They already know. They already know what it is. They already know the team of people that's involved in the crypto world. And I believe it's going to be a crypto involved product. Doesn't make any sense to use gold. I mean, it does. Don't get me wrong. I love gold and I love silver in that manner. And I think it's more important now, gold and silver today, than it's probably been in your lifetime. And I have always owned it. I don't think it's how commerce is going to be conducted going forward. I just don't. There's just not enough. There's way too many great attributes about the utility use case of a coin like XRP. Why would you use gold? Even if you backed it by gold, it doesn't work because, like I say on the show all the time, who counted it in the vault? Are they honest? And as soon as the person walked out and the next day, is the vault still full of the same amount of bars? That's the problem with gold. You have no accountability with it. None. That's always been its problem. It's theft and it's man's desire and that ultimate greed and its physical vulnerability to man's greed. Because somebody can sneak out with a bar or a coin or a bag full of them. You know, that's the problem with gold, is accountability and forgery and the rest of it. Anyway, I rambled on about this. I'm so excited. I cannot believe no other channels aren't talking about Ron Paul being absolutely in the driver's seat. Look at the cast that this president is putting forth, and he's looking for honesty and money. And what is it you and I know about crypto? We know that crypto is honesty and money. That's where we're headed, guys. Gotta love it. Gotta love the world we're living in. Sorry about being indoors today. I wanted to be out with the dogs, but it is bitter cold out there. Bitter. And I'm talking bitter cold for around these parts. So it's, yeah, very cold. All right. With that, guys, you know how much I love you. And please love each other. Please be respectful to each other, no matter what coin you own, no matter what program you listen to or whatever else you listen to. Please, they're your brothers and sisters. Give them a little love. Just say something nice in the chat below about them. You know, instead of, ripping them up all the time. Anyway, with that, you know how much I love you, and I am out.